Train to Uptown and 7th Street, arriving in 1 minute.
Years ago, the city had lost about 13 or 14,000 jobs over about 13 months in the financial services sector. There was a lot of concern that there was a cliff that we were going to walk off of as a community.
I think that the downturn was a rude awakening for a lot of folks, realizing twofold: A, how important it was to diversify a city like Charlotte, more so from a business perspective. And B, also, I think a lot of people took for granted that there already was a fair amount of business diversity. It was just sort of getting lost in the shuffle of the banking world.
If one looks at the real result of the, let's say, the disaster for the two banks, it really was that the investment bank of Bank of America largely moved to New York, so they lost literally hundreds of jobs of people making over $1 million a year. Now, when that comes out of the economy, it comes out in restaurants and clothing stores, and it comes out in the Arts and Science Council Drive or whatever. You lose that income.
But it might be an opportunity. You know, I often see these things as there's a reason why you have a bump in the road. It's a chance to evaluate, look at yourself again. And maybe it was not a good thing, or it may not be a good thing for the sustained period of time to have us be a one-horse town.
There are a lot of young people and people not so young who have found themselves without the job they once had, and they are by necessity trying to find something to do. And that leads to people figuring out a new business or something they can do, take the skills they have and turn it into money. And so one of the impetuses, I think, for new business is just necessity. We all need to make a living.
It's sort of like the gift of desperation is what I like to call it, where so many of these people were desperate to find something to do where they could follow their passion but also get paid while they're doing such.
I'm a big believer in innovation. I think this city is remaking itself as we speak. I mean, there are people doing stuff that you don't know about and I don't know about that took advantage of what's going on. And the fact that we lost a lot of people because of the last recession, we didn't really lose those people. Those people are still around in many places, and they're finding interesting ways to do other kinds of things. And so there is an evolution going on.
I think Charlotte has always been a lot more entrepreneurial than we give ourselves credit for. You can look at what today are big companies like Lance, like little old NCMB that has grown into Bank of America, numerous other examples like that. These things don't happen if you're not entrepreneurially friendly.
Where Lance started, again, many people don't know this, but we started with small business, specifically our vending business. And so we've been long supporters of small business and seeing them be successful, and as they've grown, we've been fortunate enough to grow as well.
Most construction companies that are American-owned started as entrepreneurs. I mean, it's an entrepreneurial business. If you stop and think about it, every day a building we build is different than the building we built before. And so you have to be willing to look at every set of plans, every building model in a different way.
And so I think the entrepreneurial mindset is not necessarily in terms of taking a business, but it's taking an idea. It's being innovative and creative. To me, that's what entrepreneurship means. And you're really able to take those risks and do something that's never been done before. And those things can live within an organization as well.
One of the things that our city is going to have to do, and it's a culture change for Charlotte. Much of the leadership that's happened in the last, actually in my lifetime in Charlotte, has been private sector leadership. And there's nothing to say that entrepreneurs aren't private sector leaders. But one of the things the city's going to have to do is it's going to have to be comfortable with taking some risks to create opportunities for our citizens.
We need the cooperation we need for our city, whether it's the chamber, whether it's for sports organizations, whether it's for the growth of the symphony and the opera. And so we need everybody to do their part.
The next generation is our first generation Bobcats fans. So, unfortunately we don't have the storied history of the Boston Celtics or the New York Knicks or Chicago Bulls or Los Angeles Lakers. You know, we're a 7-year-old, brand new sort of infant franchise that are trying to get our first generation of fans that are now 8, 9, 10 years old that will ultimately be successful business people in this community that we hope will be season ticket holders or corporate sponsors.
But it's not incumbent upon the city or any other entity for that matter to see to it that you do the right things in order to make your business successful. I mean, people need to start spending as much time in their business as they spend on their business. You know, people need to look outside of what's going on. How are they marketing themselves? What kind of contacts are they making? Are they willing to collaborate?
I don't know any of my businesses that are getting any help from any government, and we don't expect it and we don't need it. You know, we like it, but when we owned Bojangles, nobody was underwriting our chicken. It's like, you know, we had to buy it and cook it and sell it.
Many people learn how to do work and start businesses and never really learn how to run the business. And as a result of, there are a lot of failures in the early years.
I look back on when I came to work for the bank, I knew nothing. I'd majored in banking and finance and knew nothing. In other words, all my college education was meaningless except for business law and accounting. This is it.
There's one guy who might go off and do very well in school and would go here to B of A or to Wells Fargo or Duke or Wall Street, and they work very well in an environment where they do something very well. I see that all the time. Entrepreneurs, when you talk about entrepreneurship, that's a different ball of wax.
We learned in the house. We didn't learn, although we got degrees and all that, we didn't learn on college campuses how to be in business for ourselves. And so you have to have a mentor that's in business. You have to have those type of beacons in your community to kind of show you in which direction you should go.
I see a lot of people that want to be an entrepreneur, but they also really like watching TV. They actually really like fishing on the weekends. They like golfing. They like doing other things.
Those of us in the nonprofit space understand that you wear a minimum of 6 different hats.
You can't be a successful entrepreneur at 40 hours a week. That doesn't happen. It takes work.
Project manager, the volunteer coordinator, the fund development person. I am the marketing person, from social media to going out doing speaking events.
Are you ready for the fact that there is no paycheck guaranteed every Friday? Because that's what entrepreneurial has to start with.
Entrepreneurship is all about passion, vision, innovation, and mission.
Without passion, you don't have a long-lived entrepreneur.
Sometimes people ask me, no, it's hard to find an investor for an idea. And I said, you just need one.
The challenge is, it is more important than ever for communities, if they want to compete, to have the infrastructure, the ecosystem in place to support entrepreneurs.
Innovo Laboratory harnesses the best of Charlotte, our business expertise and thought leadership, civic engagement, our intellectual and financial capital, infuses it into one single opportunity to ensure that our best days remain ahead of us. Innovo Laboratory is Charlotte working today to build tomorrow. Go Innovo.
Go Innovo.
I believe in Innovo. Go Innovo.
Go Innovo.
Go Innovo.
Go Innovo. Go.